Zach, just wondering what the kind of the right approach is to today to keep whatever nerves there might be at bay, keep the energy up tempo and positive. If that's an effort you have to choose to make to keep it right.
I think when you're this far along in the playoffs, you've been able to kind of temper those nerves, and the longer you go, I guess the more draining it is in the sense where you can just go out and play. I think all the nerves. First round, you really have nerves, and then it starts to fade. I would say a little bit. You just get used to just going out there and playing, and I think that's the mindset we have to have today is just go and play. It's a game, and obviously it's a huge one at home, but we just got to continue to play the way we're playing.
Second row left, Derek.
Hey, Mattias. You've been in this situation before. You've played in the Stanley Cup Final. What advice can you share to some of your teammates that are here for the first time?
No, I think Zach hit it on the nail there. I think we've had some games in the playoffs now where they've been. You got to go out and just win them, and then nerves come into play and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a hockey game. We're comfortable with the way we're playing right now. We just got to focus on that more than anything. All the outside noise, you got to try to just leave it to what it is. And again, we're so far down the road in the playoffs now that you kind of, the nerves come out of play a little bit more, just because I feel like every game gets bigger and bigger where we've come so far. So, just trying to play and just trying to go out there and enjoy it. I think that's one of the bigger things too. It's a stressful situation, but you don't get here too often, so it's about enjoying it and go out doing your best.
Second row right, Daniel.
Matthias, what has Brett Kulak meant to your D-core, especially in this series, moving over to the right side and switching pairs?
Well, we talked about Nuge a little bit a couple of days ago. I think he's maybe the back-end version of Nuge. He's the Swiss Army knife. You can put him on a third pair, and he'll do that to a perfect game, and he can be on a first pair and play those minutes. And I think it's such a luxury, if you will, to have a guy like that on your team, because it doesn't really matter if you have whoever you have go down, you can just plug him in anywhere and he can play that. So it's great to have him on the team. I think he's been playing really well for us, and whatever we throw at him, he seemed to thrive. So, right now he's playing on this offside, which I know personally it's not an easy thing to do, but he's been looking great doing it. So we're fortunate to have him, and he's been a big part of this.
I was just going to ask you to maybe expand on the end of your answer, because like you said, you do that at the end of power plays. How difficult or different is it to play your offside as a lefty?
I think it's a lot about, I guess, repetition and how much time you get there, because usually when there is an opening on your strong side, you're going to tend to fall back there. So I did play my offside years ago when I actually got to do it consistently, and that's when you there's some advantages of playing on the right side for a left-handed defenseman, but when you're used to playing the left, there's something new every time, and you don't really get the time to really work in on it. And Brett hasn't played a lot on the right this year, so I can imagine it being a bit of a challenge, but I think he's been looking great doing it, so it's great for us.
Third row right, Tony.
Zach, both teams are confident, both teams are motivated, both teams are structurally sound. So there's a lot of even playing field when it comes to two teams in a conference final, especially when it's the two best teams in the Western Conference. So I ask you, in your words, what is the difference between winning and losing at this stage in the NHL?
I think it's very fine margins. I think you go out there and you don't know what play is going to be the next play. And I think as a team, collectively, you have to trust that each player is just going to go out there and do their job and not overextend yourself. And because, like I said, you don't know what play is going to be the difference. And I think it's just bringing whatever team can be more consistent with their process and weather the ups and downs of a hockey game. You've seen it throughout the series. Sometimes there are bounces that don't go your way, and it hits a shin pad, it goes in, or whatever the case may be. But if you trust in your game and your ability and your team's overall process, you're going to most times end up on top. And I think that's the key. Both teams are so tight. Both teams are obviously the best two teams in the West right now. And the margins are very, very slim.
Mattias, you guys are obviously looking to build off of what was a strong Game 5. And just a moment of reflection, for you personally, was that the best game that you've seen from your group as a collective, as a member of the Oilers?
It's pretty close, I'd say. If it's not up there, I think the last 112 minutes of hockey we've played have been really good, and I feel like we're building towards something. I think we've been, I guess both teams were a little fragile with leads to start this series, so just to see that having a lead has become more comfortable for us in a sense, and I do think the last, as I said, 112 minutes has been close to where we want to be and close to where we think that we can be successful with that kind of game if we ice it on a nightly basis. So if it's the best game, I'm not sure. I'm sure it was one of them because obviously at this stage of the season and who we're playing, and as you guys mentioned earlier, the margins of error is so tight. I've really liked our efforts, but again, it's a new game tonight. We're not sitting here being all satisfied over what we've done so far. We know every game in the playoffs just tend to get bigger the further you get down the road. So there's going to be, again, an even bigger game tonight. So we're focusing on that.
We'll take two more. Third row left, David.
This could be for either of you guys. Reflecting on how you guys approached Game 6 versus Vancouver when your season was on the line, what are you expecting from Dallas tonight, and how do you counteract that?
Yeah. Anytime your season's on the line, you find an extra level. You just have to, right? I think we experienced that in the Vancouver series. You just don't have a choice. If you want your season to continue, you need to find another level. So on the flip side, for us, you need to be able to match that and to go a step further to put a team away, and to have the opportunity to do that at home is a huge opportunity, especially with the crowd tonight and with everything that's on the line. So it's the hardest thing to do is to win the fourth one, and we got to be able to be ready.
Last one, front left, Bob.
Mattias, you're part of obviously a really good penalty kill right now. Can you maybe speak to when Chris came in, role clarity for the defensemen, but also for the forwards? He gave everybody a job, and sort of the minutes you've gotten from some of your forward groupings on the PK.
Yeah, the PK is such a, funny thing because I feel like when it's clicking, everybody's just seems to do their routes to perfection, and you can almost pre-read what the other guy's going to do, and everything works, and it looks almost like it's like painting a picture, everything just working, and it's just looking beautiful. But when it doesn't, it's like everybody's out of place, and it seems like every puck's going in. So for us to be able to come up now in the playoffs and work towards it, I guess, throughout the year, but to be able to play the way we have, and I feel like we have good chemistry on it. I think there's some really good chemistry within forward pairs, with D pairs, with the way we want to play on the kill, and obviously, in this league, the power plays are so good. They're gonna score goals on you. It's a matter of trying to limit the chances and limit the high danger chances, but so far, again, we've done a decent job here in the playoffs, and that's something that you look at last game, like special teams pretty much decided that game, so it's a big factor. But again, you can't take anything for granted especially when it comes to the penalty kill, because they can stung you if you're not ready. So again, we're going to have to continue to be humble and trying to work on keeping up the I guess good pressure we've had on that unit.